Everybody is just out here gaslighting themselves. They're out here acting and pretending that they are not as competent as they are because they just keep repeating a lie that they've heard in their childhood over and over and over again. Hey everybody, it's the situational therapist. I hope you're doing well. Here's the thing. I've been making this video for like a week now because I'm not following the advice of the video I'm trying to make for you. So I'm gonna make it real simple. You can do whatever you want to do. You can honestly go do whatever if you want to dye your hair 7 different shades of purple, you can do that. If you want to order Uber Eats for 3 months straight and you have the money for it, you can do that. If you want to wear, I don't know, dress up like a cowboy, you can do whatever you want. And I know this, well, what are you talking about? There's so many people, like even today, that I'm working with in my practice that are still living a life that they think that they're supposed to live instead of living the life that they want because they're gaslighting themselves. Even with in the middle of coronavirus, when everything has changed, everything is completely different. There are people out here that are still trying to keep regular work hours. There are people out here that are still trying to work out the same way that they used to. They're trying to eat the same way that they used to. They're trying to use the same coping skills. They're trying to date the same way. They're trying to make relationships in the same way. The world has changed. There was a world that was pre-COVID-19 and there's a world that's post-COVID-19. And if you don't know how to live in the post-COVID-19, you're not going to make it. You're just not. You cannot continue to live your life the way that you think you need to live it. And the reason that people do this the most that I've seen in my practice is that everybody is just out here gaslighting themselves. They're out here acting and pretending that they are not as competent as they are because they just keep repeating a lie that they've heard in their childhood over and over and over again. You can't do it. Why do you want to do that? That's not really interesting. You can't make any money off that. I've been wondering, like, why are so many people like making YouTube channels and everybody's coming out with their podcasts and everybody's coming out with their gaming channels and everybody's doing all these things that they said that they were going to do when they were younger. They got older and they didn't do them. For example, I know y'all see that guitar sitting back there in my background. My next video is watch the situational therapist learn how to play guitar from beginning to end because I've always wanted to play guitar. The problem is I don't like being bad at stuff. I just don't like that feeling of sucking at something terribly before I'm really good at it. I just don't like it because most things I pick up fairly quickly. I was a drummer at West Monroe High School. When I walked in, I played clarinet. After 4 years, I was drumline captain. Your boy is a beast on the sticks. I just am. It just sucks that I'm not as awesome at playing guitar as I am at drumming yet. But as long as that guitar sits over there in that corner and I don't take it out and I don't download the programs I need, I don't find someone on YouTube to follow, I don't do anything, I'm just abusing myself. I'm just being abusive. I have this guitar that's sitting right there that I know I want to learn how to play and I'm not doing anything about it. And I could come up with 1,000 reasons for why I'm not doing it. You know, I got a lot of work. I've been real tired lately. You know what? It would be more form of self-care for me not to force myself to do something I don't feel like doing. But I want to learn how to play guitar, so I have to make a decision. There are 2 things that are going on in my mind. Part of me wants to play the guitar, and part of me wants to just sit around and stare at the wall and sleep and do nothing all day. Those 2 things are mutually exclusive. There must be some sort of bridge, some sort of way to make those 2 distant parts of myself talk to each other and come up with some sort of compromise. And that's why we use languages like parts. Well, part of me feels this way, part of me feels that. Now, I know that there are some people who are afraid that if they talk to themselves or talk about themselves in parts, somehow they're going to develop some sort of split personality. But it is totally okay to see yourself in terms of just different parts. And so if that language is offensive to you, I have another way that I use it in my practice. I tell my clients that there's a past version of yourself, present version of yourself, and a future version of yourself. And you want to do things now to show the future version of yourself love. So what that means is I make my bed every single day. Back whenever I used to go out to an office, I would make sure that I made my bed every day. I came up with that not because I read it from a book, but when I was in an Airbnb after my divorce in Seattle, sitting on the floor wondering how I got there, I decided that, you know what, the first step that I could take to doing better and being consistent is making my bed. And so by making my bed every day, I established a routine and consistent. On top of that, though, I do something for myself now that I really appreciate in the future. So when I would come home after a long day of work, there's just something about seeing your house clean, seeing your house in order, seeing it in the way that you want to have it, that just makes you feel good. And so I expanded that. Well, if I'm going to make my bed every day, I wonder what would happen if I made my bed and brushed my teeth every day. Okay. So I wonder what happens if I make my bed, brush my teeth, and make sure that I have a good breakfast in the morning. And you just continue to compound on those things. So in the present, you are doing something that your future self will appreciate, and your future self can thank your past self for what they did. And like what I'm saying is that just creates this positive cycle of interaction. It just creates this positive system where you just get addicted to doing nice things for yourself. It becomes amazing to come home and say, man, I'm really hungry, but that's cool because I meal prepped a week ago and now I have the food that I need to eat. And before coronavirus, this was something that you would do if you had the time, if you had the ability. But now in the world that we live in, this is not optional. You have to take care of yourself. Like we are about to be in a world that's very scary. A bunch of people are about to be evicted from their homes. A bunch of businesses are about to shut down. And people that are like conditioned to think that money brings them happiness or money is important, or who are unable to like let go of their attachment to money. Like I understand that I need money, but I don't go through my daily life thinking about it. I really don't. It's not important. I have enough to pay the bills that I need to pay. Rest of it, I owe to someone for years and years over because I took out a bunch of student loans, right? So there's no need for me to just sit around and wonder, what about my retirement? What about my this? It truly doesn't matter as a millennial because the economy, we're fucked. Like there's no need. The situation is hopeless, but it's not serious. It's all good, right? Like we don't have any sort of wealth. Not a lot of us. Some of us do. And I'm not knocking you. Some people did really good with their money. Some people took out their student loans and put them in man. I often wonder, like, what if I could just communicate to my past self, hey, look, you take out those student loans. Why don't you go ahead and invest all that money in a company called Netflix? Just put it all in there and then go to work at school and pay for your own college. And then when you get out, you'll have a nice bit of money sitting there for you waiting. However, there's no financial literacy taught in my family. No one ever taught me to do that. It's important that you do stuff for yourself and stop gaslighting and being abusive to yourself. So many of my clients, they talk to themselves in a way that just shows they don't have like even the slightest bit of respect for themselves. They talk to themselves in such a way that they wouldn't talk to anyone else like that. Whenever they're hungry, they make themselves wait. I have clients that will sit through meetings having to pee and not go to the bathroom because they're afraid of hurting others. So we got to learn how to be selfish. It's during coronavirus, it's okay to be selfish. You need to be selfish. If you are walking down the street and you are white and there is a black person who is not wearing a mask and they run towards you, it is not racist to move out of the way. Now, why did I use that example? Because I was sitting, a beep went off. I was sitting on a bench and a person who looked to be of Hispanic origin was walking towards me, coughing out loud, and it sounded like a really wet cough. And because I am an empathic, don't want to be mean, don't want to be rude, don't want to be seen as racist person, I almost just sat there until the person I was with, I was like, get the hell up, that dude's cough is wet as shit, and look at how rude he's being, you know? And so it's moments like those where I'm like, goodness gracious, I am going to die because I don't want to hurt someone's feeling. So please, it's okay to hurt people's feelings. During this, not hurt people's feelings on purpose. It's okay to think about yourself. It really is. So on this journey towards building a better relationship with yourself, the first thing that you have to understand is that it is okay to talk to yourself. It's okay. Hey, Derrick, how you doing, man? I just want to check in with you. Honestly, man, I'm tired. I really don't feel like recording this video, but I've not felt like recording this video for like, I don't know, a week. I've always had this thing that said, when I get 1,000 subscribers, we're going to make blah, blah, blah. And so now 1,000 subscribers are here and I don't feel like doing it. Well, is it that you don't feel like doing it, or is it the way that you're doing it? What do you mean? Well, it seems like you think that you need to have this big grand production, that you need to have all these title cards and cues, and that it has to be perfectly curated and you need to say it in the right way. And it seems like you are so concerned with doing it perfectly that you're not doing it at all. What, did you have to come after my soul and shit like that? Like, so I mean, being able to process stuff like that, like pretending to be different people to talk with, it's okay. It's fine. It's so funny because people are so afraid of being crazy. Let me share with you some crazy thoughts that I've had. I've often thought, like, okay, so solipsism is a logically defensible position, and the world that we are in just does not make sense to me sometimes. So what if the bad guys actually won? We're in the matrix, and the only way to get out of the matrix is for us to slowly break down the systems that keep it running. And that just, that makes sense to me. That makes why are things so terrible? Because it's all a simulation. Does that mean that things don't matter? Absolutely not. Even if I knew the world was a simulation, or even if I thought that everything that going on around me was a projection of my mind, I don't think that that would change the way that I would live my life, right? So it is okay to come up with your own theories and explanations for the world. Just make sure that they contain a couple of key elements. One, don't hurt anybody else. And two, don't hurt yourself. Other than that, have at it. Whatever explanation that you need to help you get through the situation that you're in, use it. People often say, well, how do you tell the difference? How do I know if I'm really talking to somebody else? How do I make sure that I don't actually go crazy? If you don't like the idea of talking out loud to yourself because that feels uncomfortable to you, that's fine. That doesn't mean that you don't speak with yourself. Get a journal, get a notebook, write a song, paint a picture, do anything other than just sit there with those feelings inside of you and not communicate and try to process them for yourself. Because what happens is those feelings then become bodily sensations. You have to learn how to listen to your body. Your body is not going to lie to you. It can't. It can't. You can misinterpret the signal, and we do all day. A lot of us will walk into a situation, feel anxiety, and think that this is evidence of an anxiety disorder instead of the fact that your body has been honed over millions of years of evolution to be able to read situations that you get into. Now, you can judge a situation. There's a difference between judging a situation and reading it. But walking into a room and being able to read a room is a skill that your body just has. And the problem is we start taking those messages, the things, anxiety, depression, even feelings of mania or feeling suicidal. We take those messages and say that they are symptoms instead of communication. As a Black man, it makes sense to go into a conference room full of white therapists and feel anxious. That makes so much sense. If I tell a therapist who's never experienced that or doesn't know what that's like, they might think that I'm being pathological. When you're honest to God, it makes so much sense in the society that we live in to have that anxiety. A lot of my behaviors have changed. I don't even go out to go shopping after 10 o'clock because I'm not trying to get hit by no cop that's having a bad day. And all of those things impinge on my ability to do whatever I want to do. And I truly think that a lot of the symptoms that we have, a lot of the issues that we have, even with self-love and self-appreciation, just fundamentally stem from being unable to do whatever it is you want to do and feel okay about it, to make mistakes. And where does that start? In childhood. How many times do you have parents say, sit down, you're moving too much, you're doing that too much, you just need to be a little bit more obedient. And before people say, here goes the situational therapist again blaming parents, I am not blaming parents. I am calling out the behaviors and the way in which they parent. The thing is, as long as everybody is looking inside of themselves for the answers, as long as everyone is wondering what is wrong with them and not looking at the environment, you're gonna have these questions. So this is how you learn to gaslight yourself. This is how you learn to abuse yourself. You just keep repeating the abusive language that your parents used to describe you for whatever reason. Maybe they were tired. Maybe they didn't really want children. Maybe they didn't know what to expect. At the end of the day, you have to stop gaslighting yourself. You have to stop repeating these things to yourself over and over and over again. If anybody has any questions, even just one person, leave me a comment below, and I promise you that I will get back to it. I look forward to providing you more free therapy videos, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.